So do you have anxiety about whether or not your kids are actually learning? Especially if like you're dabbling with unschooling or relaxed homeschooling or just, not going the traditional route with education. So anyways, I'm here to let you know that you don't need to doubt yourself anymore. And I'm going to teach you some tactics to help you show proof that learning is happening so you can ease your anxiety. So let's get to it. And if you're new here, I'm Xuan, and I am a homeschool blogger and a slow living coach and homeschool mentor as well. And I have 3 kids. I got to think hard here. I have a 13-year-old, I have an 8-year-old, and I have an almost 6-year-old. I've been homeschooling for a while, and before that, I was a middle school history teacher and an AVID coordinator. So I feel like maybe I know what I'm doing. Hopefully, I don't know. So with traditional schooling, you have clear markers, right? So you have quizzes and tests, and what else is there? There's like report cards and, graded assignments, etc. And so you have clear benchmarks or ideas of where your kid is and whether they're actually learning. Even though, I don't know, some kids aren't very good test takers, and if you just had a discussion with them, they'd probably show you a lot more than what they can answer on a test, but that's another whole other video about that. But in a relaxed or unschooling environment, those markers are a lot less obvious, and so I want to share some strategies with you. The first and most important, and I've gone over this a couple of videos back, is to shift your mindset. Shift your mindset about what learning looks like. So learning isn't just about sitting at a desk and learning from a curriculum or filling out a workbook or some worksheet that you may have found online. Instead, it happens in like everyday experiences. I mean, think back to you and your learning. When you learn something new, is everything that you're learning, because we're constantly learning, is everything you're learning coming out of a worksheet or a workbook or a curriculum? Probably not, right? You're learning things through like experiences and conversations and things that you've read or listened to, like podcasts, or maybe even watched like documentaries or YouTube videos. And then also exploring like the world around you, like maybe not going on field trips, but like traveling and seeing the sights, right? So you just need to kind of reframe your mindset about learning, and then also recognize that your child is learning the same way as well. Hold on, I need to get my little letter opener. I have a stack of all of these letters, like from Letters from Afar and Posts from the Past and American Heritage. I have all these just kind of collecting here, and I need to organize them and put them away. Okay, next is observe and document, and I'm going to go more into detail about this, but I think I've made a video in the past about it, but it probably wasn't that great. So instead of like formal assessments, like you don't need to have like like in schools, they tend to have like a ticket out, like where you have to answer a question to see if you comprehended for whatever you learned in class that day, and then you write it down, and then you hand the card or the ticket, or you put it in a mailbox or whatever the teacher decides to do. We don't have that, and we don't have like quizzes. Well, hopefully, maybe you do. We're not doing quizzes, and we're not doing tests, and we're not doing all these traditional things. So what are different ways that we can assess whether or not our kids are learning? Well, keep a notebook or a journal, or even a planner. So what I like to do, and I'm actually making something for myself next year, and I will share that with you, is a backwards planning journal or notebook or planner. I don't know. What would I call it? I don't know. So basically, you write down at the end of the day, at the end of the homeschool day, you write down everything that your kids did, and then you check off, which subject matter that pretty much goes under. And so we kind of do something similar with our homeschool teacher, because we do homeschool through a public independent study charter school that caters to homeschoolers. And when we meet with our homeschool teacher once a month, pretty much go over everything that we've learned, and she checks off like which standards we've met. So it's kind of something similar, but it's just not standards based. Instead, it's like subject based, like, oh, this is this subject, this is this subject, etc. But I guess you could, if you're worried about standards, you could do something similar to that as well. So backwards planning is one way, or you can just keep like a journal. So like, hi. So like I know with Montessori and Emilia Reggio, they like keep like a journal of everything the kids are doing and you know how well they're doing it and any struggles, etc. So that's something they can think about as well. All right, so this one is from Post from the Past. So Post from the Past comes from England and very nice. This one is about Doc and Jim Key, the Extraordinary Educated Horse. It comes with this as well. And hopefully you can hear me okay. I do have laundry going. Our house is small. We don't have a big house here. And then besides like the whole like notebook, like backward planning or just keeping a journal and writing everything down, you can also, I know we try not to be on our phones so much, but you can take pictures as well. Maybe even get like just like a regular point and shoot camera. I know those are really popular again. So you can pick up one of those or maybe have one in somewhere in a shoebox somewhere like I do and document that way about what your kids are doing. And there's also apps online that I know teachers use to document, like students can document what they're doing online. So I'm sure you can somehow access it and use it the same way. And then there's that other homeschool, that online homeschool planning planner, like Homeschool Planet. Is that what it is? I'm not sure. So there's like a lot of tools out there that you can use if you want to go more digital rather than physical, but I'm kind of old school and I like to write things down with pen and paper. So that's how what I do is the backwards planning. It's much easier. And then also I can take that notebook and bring it with me when we meet our homeschool teacher so that so it's easy. So our meetings go quicker basically because I already know everything that we did. This one is American Heritage Adventure and Joshua Tree. And it comes with a postcard. So we actually have like a postcard thing right here. I'll show it to you. So up here, these are all postcards we have not sent yet, which we need to, that we've collected. And these are all postcards we received over the years. So it's our little postcard area. Don't mind the mess. Our house is a bit of disarray right now, our homeschool room, because I am still in the process of figuring out this area right here so that we can have more storage. I'm thinking about getting one of those, another IKEA calyx, but like a bigger one to go on this wall here, and then have an L-shaped desk here on that corner, and see this table here is kind of piled up. These are some of the kits that we're going to be doing over the summer, and my kids are super into Lego right now. In the living room we actually have like a stop motion Lego scene going on. Let me show that to you real quick. Right here is kind of in disarray right now, so I guess they're done, but they're probably going to film another stop motion video. My kids actually started a new YouTube channel. They have two. One is just like super silly, weird stuff, and the other one is all about Legos and stop motion and stuff like that. And to me, that's homeschooling because they're learning, they're doing it on their own. They're learning how to do stop motion. They're coming up with stories. They are, learning how to edit and publish and just, learning is happening. Next is kind of trust the process. Like trusting the process can be really challenging, especially when we come from like a traditional school setting and we're used to traditional metrics of success. And we just need to remember that learning is a natural process. We all go through it, and children are wired to learn, right? Humans are wired to learn. And it's only recently that we've been using like curriculum and books and paper and computers and all that to help us learn, but we've been learning for millennia. And I think if you just give them the freedom to explore their interests, you're going to see them develop skills and knowledge like really organically. And maybe that will give you some hope to trust the process. But, like we're not unschoolers here. We do a mix of, me assigning them academics and then also child-led interests. And I feel like that's a really good mix for me, and that kind of eases my anxiety as well, having that mix. Okay, another American Heritage Adventure. This one is Hot Springs. Hot Springs, where? There's a bunch of hot springs. Hot Springs National Park in Arkansas. Ah, never even heard of that. So next is to connect with others. I know I mention this all the time, how important it is to like connect with other homeschoolers, especially those that are relaxed homeschoolers or unschoolers, if that's the path you want to go towards, because having other people kind of doing something similar to you makes you feel less like you're not doing enough, right? And then plus you can lean on each other and share resources and ideas and experiences. Whereas if you are surrounding yourself with only people that are homeschooling traditionally, then or even traditional school kids, then you're going to feel like you're behind when they talk about what their kids are doing. You don't really know if their kids are actually learning because you're not there. Are they showing you like their backwards planning notebook, or are they showing you like the tests and all that stuff? I mean, just because they cover it doesn't mean the kids are really paying attention. Like if I just gave my kids like workbook and worksheet work to do all the time, I already know they're not really going to learn anything, because my kids they'll do it just to get it done, but they're not really paying attention. It's in and out. Which brings me to the next tip, which is to focus on skill and not content. When I'm talking about skill, I'm talking about critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and adaptability, because those are things that aren't really taught in the traditional school settings. Instead, they're just focused on content, getting through the content so everyone's on the same page, and not so much on developing those skills that you need to be a functioning adult, and also that you need in order to be a self-led learner. I would not worry too much on the content, worry more on the skills, because you can learn the content anytime. You can learn the content anytime. But the skills are harder to learn the older that you get. So definitely learn those skills early on. Okay, this one's a Letters from Afar. And Oman. And it comes with like this little field notes and a map on the back. Next is to create like a rich learning environment. And I'm not saying that you need to have a homeschool room like we do. We just have this extra room that used to be an office, and now it is our homeschool room. But we don't really do homeschool in here. It's just kind of like the storage area. I mean, sometimes my kids will do their Legos, or my son, when he's on his laptop, then he'll sit at his desk right there. But it's not like, this is not like the one room where we do all our homeschool stuff. Like, we're scattered all over the house when we're actually doing homeschool. Sometimes we're outside, sometimes we're elsewhere, like not even at home. Creating a rich homeschool environment. So that means like books, having lots of books, having lots of books that your kids can access, and not just like literature books, but like books that they really like, and also references or resource books. We don't have encyclopedias anymore like when I was a kid, but we do have a lot of like resource books that my kids like to look at, like this one. My kids are military buffs, so we have the military history book, and they like to just look in here and just learn. Oh, look. I have the tracker on, so I can't find where I'm at. Right here. So besides books and reference books, I'm also talking about like science supplies or science kits, art supplies. That's a big one as well. And we also like keep like a lot of, not trash, but like recycled materials, so that my kids can like create something new out of that as well. So there's just a lot of ways to make a rich learning environment for your family. And then also, I know that some unschoolers do something that's called like an invitation to learn. And so like you'd have to do this at night, where you kind of set up something in some common area. You set up like a tablescape full of things, whatever you want your kids to explore. So maybe you have like all these leaves, fall time, you have all these leaves and you have a magnifying glass, you know, or maybe you just put art supplies out so that when the kids wake up, they look at it and like, oh, I'll do some art today. You can also have like examples, like create an example so they get an idea, or you can just leave it free and open where they get to just do whatever they want with it. So maybe they're not going to like study the leaves that you put out. Maybe instead they're going to draw on it, but that's okay too. This one is just regular heritage letter. So American Heritage Adventure and Heritage Letter are from the same company. This one's not a postcard, it's like, looks like a painting. Edwin James. And then on the back, we have like a timeline. And then this one kind of broke up, and a letter. And the signature at the bottom is his actual signature. Obviously, they got it online and they put it on here, but yeah. So, pretty cool. Gonna have to organize these soon. Let's see. Post from the past. So yeah, I'm a busy person. Besides homeschooling my kids and ferrying them to class and being a homeschool blogger, and then like all homeschoolers, I also have an Etsy shop that I have to maintain. And then I am now starting this coaching business. So I am a slow living coach and I'm a homeschool mentor. And so, yeah, I got a lot going on. So I don't always have time to put everything away right away. We don't always have time to look at everything right away because we already have stuff going on. And this one, Rosalind Franklin. I'm not familiar with her either. Maybe she's British, that's why. And then also kind of related to backwards planning is to reflect. To reflect on your homeschool goals, your values as a family, and just reflect on the whole process. Like, how is it going with your kids? Like, give it some time. I think that's one of the things. Another thing that we don't do is give things enough time. Like, if we don't have that instant success or something like that, then we feel like we're not doing enough. And sometimes you just have to give it time and it will get easier. And also reflect, because that's the only way things will get better. Because if you reflect, then you can adjust. If you don't reflect, you don't know what to adjust or where to adjust or how to adjust. So reflect. This one is Letters from Afar. India. So I think she does these on Procreate and prints them out. But we're like old school subscribers to Letters from Afar, and the earlier versions, much different than the current ones. But I know that she is very popular now around the world. People subscribe to these letters from around the world, and she has quite a few. She used to hand address them, not anymore. And the next is to celebrate the small wins and the milestones. I think that's really important. Like, we forget to do that. Like, we kind of just only celebrate like the big things, like the beginning of the year and the end of the year. But what about like everything in between? Why aren't we celebrating all the small things? So maybe, you guys finish like a read aloud book, have a party, a book party, right? Or you finish like a unit on California history, or you finish a unit about the gold rush in California. So go on a field trip like we did. Our field trip was kind of pushed back because of so many reasons. We were supposed to go, I think we studied it during COVID, and we were supposed to go, but a lot of things were closed. We couldn't visit some of the state parks that we wanted to go to. And then we were going to go a couple of years ago, and my husband got in his accident, so we didn't go. So finally, we went 3 weeks ago. And it was pretty fun. It was a pretty epic road trip. If I were to do it again, we did it in 2 days. If I were to do it again, I would just do it I would take a week, because there's just so many things to see. And then there's like all these like side roads to take you up more into the Sierra Nevadas. And I would have spent a little bit longer on that road trip if we had the time, but we didn't. But yeah, celebrating the small wins and the big wins and the medium wins and all the wins is important for success. We want to feel like we're progressing, right? So this one is Heritage Letter, and we have William Bartram. It's from Pennsylvania. And a letter. So I'm not familiar with him either. And finally is to seek advice from professionals or people who, have been there and done that kind of a thing. So if you have any friends that homeschooled and their kids have aged out, they've already finished homeschooling and, they're living their adult lives, you can talk to those kids, you can talk to the parents that taught those kids, you could talk to like a homeschool coach or a homeschool mentor. Talking about that, I do have a summer homeschool reset that I'm doing for July, starting the week of July 8th, and it's just 4 weeks. You get 4 one-on-one sessions with me, Zoom, but no video, so we can just chat with our messy buns and sitting by the pool or the beach or the park or the backyard. Maybe your pool is like a little kid pool in the backyard. You also get 4 weeks of Voxer support, and you can just pick my brain all you want, and I'm there for you. If you want to do payment plans or something, just let me know, like message me, and we can figure all that out. And I want you to remember that relaxed homeschooling or slow schooling or even unschooling, it's all about making and creating a joyful and meaningful learning environment for your kids. And by trusting the process, observing their growth and writing down whatever it is that they're doing and focusing on skills, you're gonna be able to overcome your anxiety. And again, it takes time. It takes time. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight. There's like no magic cure that's just gonna, like, you pop a pill and then the next thing you know you're not going to be anxious anymore. It's not that. You need to trust the process and trust your intuition, and you need to remember that your child is learning every day and probably in more profound ways that will last for a lifetime. So thanks for being here. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.